Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters, All Out Attack is the worst title ever given to one of the best movies in the Godzilla franchise. I feel really, really good about this one. This one was a good-ass time. Apparently they brought in one of the guys who directed some of the Gamera movies, which I have never seen. I've not seen a single Gamera movie, but now I want to, because damn, like, this one was good. Like, okay, so this movie is just totally awesome. Like, I'm gonna call it GMK for short because that's what everyone else calls it. GMK is definitely in my top 5 favorite Godzilla movies that I've seen. It was just fucking awesome. Like, Godzilla is once again the bad guy. And I've noticed that this is kind of a trend with the Millennium series, is that each one is like a standalone sequel to the first movie. They all kind of reboot the series over and over again. So this one's not connected to any of the other movies except the first one, again. But in this one, Godzilla is once again evil. He's on a rampage, and he has this new redesign that looks awesome. It looks just like the classic Godzilla, but his eyes don't have pupils. They're just blank wide eyes, so he looks like an evil fucking animal, just creature thing that's just in a rage. And there's plenty of awesome scenes of Godzilla smashing stuff up. You actually get to see some of the destruction from the perspective of the citizens. Like, there's this really cool part where you see a girl who's like in a hospital and her leg is in a cast and it's like, you know, lifted up, so she can't get out of her hospital bed, and she looks out the window and sees Godzilla coming towards her, and she starts to scream because she thinks she's about to die, and then Godzilla just keeps walking past the hospital building, and she breathes a sigh of relief. And then you see Godzilla's tail smack into the side of the hospital, straight into the window of the room she was in, so she's definitely dead. It's just like the comedic build-up, like the timing of that is very comedic, but it's such a dark moment. It's just like, oh my god, like, this movie knows exactly what it's doing. It's a perfect monster flick. And the best thing about it, the unique thing about this movie, is that the setup for the other monsters is very unique. It's different from the backstories they had before. This time, Mothra, Ghidorah, and Baragon, of all things, are 3 chosen guardian monsters that awaken when the Earth is in trouble. They are there to protect the Earth from Godzilla, and Godzilla is an unstoppable badass in this movie. He's ridiculous. Like, he's more powerful and more agile than he's ever been, even though he is not on the side of good in this movie. They really made him, you know, they amped him up a bit. And oh man, I think, like, they have a, I'm trying to think, I might be thinking of this or a different movie. No, that's right. I actually found the human characters in this movie somewhat entertaining. Like, they never bored me, really. Like, this is one of those rare Godzilla films where I was actually entertained the entire way through, start to finish. So, yeah, the humans are, like, the main character's like an investigative reporter, and she's trying to, you know, gather information about these kaiju, while meanwhile her dad, who's like a war veteran or like general or something like that, he's trying to get her out of trouble while also commanding these soldiers trying to find a way to stop Godzilla. And one of the first of the guardian monsters to show up is Baragon. Baragon has been in other monster movies, but he's never been in a Godzilla movie before, so I had no idea who he was or what he was about. But he looks really cool. He's got like a little horn in the middle of his head. He looks like a weird, like he's a quadruped, just weird thing. He kind of looks like, I mean, he doesn't look like a dog, but his movements kind of remind me of like a dog, and Godzilla just beats the absolute shit out of him, like just destroys him, blasts the shit out of him with his fire breath, which in this movie Godzilla's fire breath kind of comes out like a beam, like just an elongated blue beam, so when he shoots down like fighter jets and stuff, he does it with pinpoint accuracy and does it very quickly, like nothing can stop him. And yeah, and eventually Mothra shows up and joins the fight, and Godzilla and Mothra are having like their big epic final battle in the city. Well, there's this old man who died to the original Gojira back in 1954. He's like a ghost or something, and he's the one that awakens Ghidorah. And Ghidorah is actually a good guy in this movie, which he's never been before or since to my knowledge. So Ghidorah is one of the cool guys, but he doesn't look the way he normally does. He doesn't have his wings, he's just like a big 3-headed dragon. And they said in the legend that he was supposed to have 8 heads, so I don't know what happened to that, but 3-headed Ghidorah emerges and joins the fight. And there's a shot where he like bites onto Godzilla with all 3 of his heads. It looks very much like a shot from the trailers for the upcoming film Godzilla King of the Monsters. And in general, I felt like King of the Monsters is probably going to take influence from this film, because this film has really good special effects. Like, this is the best looking Godzilla movie I've seen so far. Like, it actually almost looks modern with its stuff. There's still some, like, dodgy CG here and there. It looks a little dated, but it looks good. Like, it still holds up pretty well. And one of the most epic, like, shining moments in the film is near the end. See, Ghidorah gets the shit beat out of him. Godzilla, like, even goes so far as to bite his neck, and like, one of his necks, and you see blood coming out, just knocks Ghidorah out. And then Godzilla's going to deliver the final blow and blast the shit out of Ghidorah, and Mothra just flies right in front of him and takes the hit full on, and it obliterates Mothra into little specks, and the little specks gather themselves around Ghidorah, and Ghidorah grows wings and becomes King Ghidorah and has this big glowing golden aura around him, and it's amazing. And he goes to finish the fight with Godzilla, and what's really, like, so crazy about it is that Ghidorah still loses. Like, they take the fight underwater, it gets brutal, it gets bloody, Godzilla still wins. And so all the monsters are dead. All three of them, their spirits, their energies combined were not enough to stop him. And it's then that the main character, reporter lady, her dad, gets inside of this weird submarine thingy that was built to combat Godzilla. He drives it down under the water into Godzilla's throat, and then drills a hole out of Godzilla's, like, neck or shoulder or something, and bursts his way out of Godzilla, like, leaving a hole in him. And then Godzilla emerges from the ocean waters, and he tries to blast our main characters with his Nova Breath, but every time he tries to fire his fire breath out, it just comes out of the hole in his shoulder, and it hurts him, like, a lot. And it's just fucking crazy. It's just a crazy-ass movie. It's so cool. It's so good. Like, it's got plenty of monster action in it. Like, it's a little bit of a slow burn in, like, the beginning, but once you get to the 40-minute mark, it's just non-stop, like, like, this movie's cool. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. 8 out of 10. This one's badass. Definitely give it a watch.